Hello and welcome. It is November 1st today, and today we have a special program for you celebrating Torkom's 104th birthday and TSG's 34th anniversary. It was today, 34 years ago, that I decided I wanted to follow my passion and start a publishing company, a teaching company. And throughout all these years, thanks to you and your support and your love and spreading the teaching, we have accomplished so much. So today's program is going to be in three parts. First, I'd like to read for you a little excerpt from Torkom's autobiography. If you're familiar with this, it is his story in his own words, and it is just beautiful. So I'm going to read a little excerpt from chapter 68, titles, Why Do I Write? Because sometimes it's good for us to refresh our minds. Why do we read these books? Why do we study them? What is the intent behind them? So I will read just 15 reasons that he gives why he writes. And if you have this book, read the rest of it. It's beautiful. So after that, I will read a beautiful poem that Torkom wrote in his book, first volume, From My Heart. And it is about birthdays. And then we will finish with the fifth daily discipline of worship about freedom and do a brief and wonderful meditation. So let's start. The first one is, why do I write? And he says, as far as I can, my intention is to create in people a love toward beauty. Now imagine what this means. It means that when we read the teaching that Torkom wrote, or any great teachings, we should have a love starting to dwell in us that takes us toward beauty in every way. I don't really want to take too much time talking about each of these ideas, but it's something for you can meditate on. The second one is deepen the sense of righteousness. To be righteous in all things. And look, these are parts of the 5 daily discipline of worship, aren't they? Third, create goodwill. We so much need goodwill between people and nations, between us and nature, between us and everything around us. So that's a third. Next, inspire people with a vision of right human relations. Sometimes we think that is absolutely impossible given today's times of social media and the ugliness that goes around, but it is possible. There are so many of us who practice right human relations, so the teaching should reflect that in our life. Create courage. That is really interesting for me, that the teaching creates courage in us, that Torkom writes in order that we have courage. And courage for me shows how he overcame so many difficulties from his childhood, from the time he started writing, from the time he started spreading the teaching. It needed daily courage for him to continue. It's easy to give up and go away, but it's very, very difficult to have that continuous courage for us and for a teacher. So especially if you want to be a teacher of ageless wisdom, you want to write beautiful things, remember, you need to create courage in others and have courage in you. Next, annihilate violence, crime, and exploitation. And he did this in many of his writings by presenting right human relations, how to better our relationships, how to create virtues. Next, challenge creative actions. Challenge creative actions, because when we do creative things in any field of human endeavor, creativity doesn't mean just artistic endeavors. When we become creative, it means our human soul is active and working. Next, invite people to purify their motives and work for the common good. Can you imagine if all of us started to purify our motives? We're not so self-centered and selfish, and everything we do is for the good of others. We have social responsibilities. Where would our life be right now if we practice that in a larger and larger way? Okay, next, inspire in people a love for all living forms. This is so important now that we are aware of the environment, the danger to our planet, that we have love, not just respect, but love for all living forms. That means starting from the rocks and the minerals all the way to human beings and other worldly forms. Next, open in business a sense of direction. That is part of that purpose of life, universality, that expansive feeling that you have, that sense, and synthesis. These are three beautiful cornerstones that you can think about. Next, inspire people to develop the spirit of cooperation with the vision of the great avatars. If we think of the great avatars, for example, Christ, his message was to love one another as I have loved you. And we take all of those, the great commandments, the great teachings of great beings who have come to this planet from different religious perspectives, and if we start following them, what would that mean? And sometimes we follow them, yet we dismiss others. So look at those deep, deep reasons why Torkom writes to remind us of these pathways. Next, inspire others to strive toward enlightenment, knowledge, and beingness. Enlightenment and knowledge and beingness means you get information and then you use it to transform yourself. You don't just fill your head, fill your library shelves with information. If we don't do that, then we will increase our glamours, illusions, maya, vanity, and you'll see that. You'll see that in spiritual people, in people of all stripes and kinds. If we don't go toward enlightenment, knowledge, and beingness, changing our beingness, then the vices that are underneath the skin will start coming out and show in some very interesting ways. Next, inspire people to bloom with the flowers of virtues and with the fragrance of nobility and kindness. I love that. It's like a poem. To bloom with the flowers of virtues. Take any virtue, and if you increase that virtue, you will see that it will have all kinds of roots and tendrils that will increase many other virtues in you. And with the fragrance of nobility and kindness, to be kind toward each other. Next, inspire people to unite and form a universal brotherhood in which there's freedom from fear. Imagine what fear does to us. Individual, personal fear that we're going to fail, we're going to get sick, we're going to die. And then take it larger fears. What are they going to do to us, right? That is really peddled in all the news media, in all the social networks that we see, and we need to change that. So if we form a platform through which we disperse that fear, we do not buy into it, and we instead look at beauty and goodness and the principles that he's taught us. He says, how about freedom from want, that we share everything, and freedom of religion and speech, how much that is constrained in so many parts of our lives. Freedom of religion and speech. Wow, these are so fundamental. But Torkom is saying the reason why he writes is to increase these in us. And last but not least, inspire people to see those who stand as obstacles on the path of progress of humanity, to be able to see that and recognize it, even if it's sugar-coated. Those whose motives originate from separatism, totalitarianism, and materialism. This is heavy. I'd like to have you to really think about that, because the teachers of the Ageless Wisdom do not want us to be in separatism, totalitarianism, being controlled under materialism. Watch that even in spiritual teachings. These great, great teachers want to bring freedom to us. So look at this beautiful book and look at these ways, the reasons why Torkom writes. He says, why do I write? Here are 15 reasons, and that is his intention. So if we listen to him and do what he is asking us to do in these beautiful books, we will transform ourselves into something more soul conscious, more soul inspired, and we will go to the heights of the Ageless Wisdom in our consciousness. Okay, Number 2 I'd like to read for you is a beautiful poem from my heart, volume 1, titled Happy Birthday. And this is really interesting because in this poem, he gives a little hidden message that we can pick and choose and think about. So let me read it for us. And you can read it, of course. I think we have it posted on Facebook in part of our bulletin. So you can go to it and read it yourself again. And he says, of course you know that a man or woman does not die. We all know that. And he is not born. He is always a traveling spark in the ocean of pure light. So on this day of Torkom's birthday, we can't think of him as someone who was born 104 years ago and died, but as somebody who is on this eternal path of light. Each time a soul contacts his core on his birthday, he releases a flame which turns into a fiery rainbow as he travels in space. So we are doing this for him. We are creating this rainbow and saying, fly in this rainbow. And if you have a birthday, look at this poem again and see if you can use it for understanding the meaning of your life for your birthday. Each contact changes his consciousness and his appearance. These moments of transformation are the moments of happy birthdays. So you see, we think that birthdays are, here's a beautiful candle, we have cake, we have celebrations. Those are not just it. It is that process of change that gives us happy birthdays. After each happy birthday, new creative energies precipitate from his soul. He hears a new call for labor, a new call for service, and he responds to these calls with greater joy. So we ask Torkom to send to us new calls for labor, new calls for joy, and new energies. And as we remember him, let's do that in us. The day of birth is the day in which great ones for a moment rejoice for the expansion of beauty. The day of birth is considered the beginning of a new song, of a new striving toward greater light. I wish you happy birthday. May you give birth to your greater self, full of cosmic beauty, full of cosmic glory. And each birthday, there's a tide which, when caught at the right time, can serve as your white horse carrying you toward your great dreams. I hope Torkom fulfilled some of his dreams. He always said to us 60% of what he knew and understood was still undercover. But what he gave us was immense. Imagine we just went to print with the 111th major book, The Illumined Mind, and it is coming very soon. He did great work for us. So now we celebrate his birthday, and we celebrate the birthday of each of us. Every day that we change our consciousness is a new light for us, is a new day for us. We don't have to wait for that month and day when we were born. Every day we can be reborn. Okay, that's beautiful. Next, let's together read this last prayer of daily discipline of worship, this little book that I carry with me everywhere. And the fifth one is all about freedom. Torkom really wanted us to be free from everything that binds us to materialism and our old ways. And he always wanted us to just go up into freedom and contact our soul, our human soul, and our core, and be reborn again. So let me just read this once through, and then we'll repeat it together. He says, "My Lord, let your freedom permeate my whole being. Let me be free from all worries and anxieties, from all painful memories of the day, from all attachments and identifications, so that my soul freely soars into your temple of beauty. Let me realize freedom from my physical, emotional, and mental crystallizations, and be with you as a free soul. And he says, visualize the hands of the Lord upon your head and go to sleep in peace. This is the last one that you say. And he says, when you sleep in peace, you will see how your mind will be free from all limitations of dogma and doctrine and crystallizations. And he says, you cannot make people free. They must make themselves free by their own efforts. And he says, freedom can be accomplished by outgrowing your limitations and slavery. So let's do this final daily discipline of worship of freedom. And I love how this worked and came on the day of Torkom's birthday, my father's birthday, because he really wanted us to be free from everything that binds us. So close your eyes, sit up straight, and put a nice smile on your face, and say and repeat this after me in a nice slow rhythm. And then I will lead us into and through a nice visualization. Okay. Close your eyes and think of the great hands and healing energy of a great one. Maybe Torkom, maybe Christ. And just feel their aura, their energy field just radiating towards us. And we say, my Lord, let your freedom permeate my whole being. Let me be free from all worries and anxieties, from all painful memories of the day, from all attachments and identifications, so that my soul freely soars in your temple of beauty. Let me realize freedom from my physical, emotional, and mental crystallizations, and be with you as a free soul. Now visualize the hands of the Lord, any Lord or teacher you wish, and let that hand permeate an energy field through you. Let it go all the way through you, out your fingers and toes. Let it clean you. We all have worries and anxieties. So many every day. Nobody is exempt from them. No one. Think of how many worries and anxieties you suffer through every day, and let those be washed out. Let them be washed out. And remember, anytime you are going to make a big change in your life, you need to wash out the anxieties that come from the past. We need to make ourselves free from the past. Let that hand wash painful memories. Wash it out. Attachments, don't attach to the old. Crystallizations, identifications, and see yourself soaring freely into the higher worlds as a soul. That's good. Leave the past behind. Let it shrink and fall to the ground and be annihilated with that powerful energy of the Lord. Go up as a soul and go and meet with a great one. And let us go to Torkom today and have a conversation with him. I ask the Holy Ones to bless you, remove your pain, in your anxiety and fill you with beauty, goodness, righteousness, joy, and freedom. May you be free from all the pain that you have suffered, from all the losses. And I hope you are able to use these beautiful teachings to develop your human soul to its fullest potential. Thank you for being with me. I'd love to hear from you. Please share your ideas, your comments, and how you see Torkom's effect in your life. What did he bring to you in your life? So many people from around the world are actively studying these teachings. Share with each other, and let's fill this social media with hope and beauty and break the fear that engulfs us. Thank you for being with me, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.